The Radio Misfits Podcast Network. From the birthplace of modern winemaking, Sonoma, California, you're listening to The Winemakers with your hosts, Danielle Langlois, Bart Hansen, Sam Couturi, and Brian Casey.
I'll only do it because it's you, Sam.
It sounds better. It is 10 a.m., but we are in Sonoma, everyone. Welcome to the Winemakers Podcast. Which one is your favorite, Lisa?
The rosé and the...
Oh, the Primitivo cans. No, this is the 2025 Rosé Agave. So it's our Movedra. Okay.
Pasole. That is Lisa Storment founder of Wake Up Sonoma. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. You're very welcome. And we have on Gary Saperstein, founder of Out In The Vineyard, and who is I have known personally for quite a while. Anyone that has worked at the Girl and the Fig in Sonoma, which is about half of the town.
Exactly, legend. We're legends from the Girl.
I know. I just actually had a figlet in here yesterday who were a little family that just never seems to fade away.
No matter where we go, we find each other.
Right.
Little minion. That's exactly right.
So, this is coming up on Memorial Day weekend. We had a busy weekend last weekend. It seems like spring has already sprung. Summer is here.
Officially. 90 degrees the last couple of days.
Way too
hot. Too hot, a little too much too soon. I mean, it was also 90 degrees in March of this year.
Exactly.
You recall.
That was terrible.
That was awful.
Yeah.
But then, we got the fog coming back Memorial Day weekend. It'll be chiller.
Yeah, it's getting down to like normal kind of temps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just want to kind of highlight all of the events that both of you are spearheading this summer. I know. So Gary, do you want to start? You want to start with, people that don't live in Sonoma, which is a lot of people listen to the podcast, maybe who don't know who you are.
People from love you.
That's the goal.
To Sonoma,
100%. Maybe just a little bit about where you're from and how you made your way here to Sonoma.
Oh, we're going way back. Okay. Well, I'm a New Yorker. Yes, originally from New York, born and bred, grew up on Long Island, Woodmere. Right. Just,
Long Island, Patchogue, Long Island.
Patchogue. I know that. That's the, yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's way out. I was, New Fork. North. Yeah, right. I'm just right. It's like 20, 30 minutes outside the city of Manhattan. So sort of grew up with Manhattan as a playground. And then in my early days, I lived in Manhattan until I moved out to Sonoma. I literally did not pass go. I didn't collect $200. I went Manhattan, Sonoma. But walked about.
And what not if you don't want to say it, what year was that? Because that's got to be
1994, Labor Day. I arrived here 31 years ago.
But were you chasing someone?
Is what?
Or was there somebody involved they were following?
Running? Oh, it was. Well, it's a classic story. A man. Classic story. My partner at the time, we both moved out here because he got a job actually in Marin with the school system. He was a teacher, and I was in the restaurant business, and so I could do that anywhere.
You were doing that in New York too?
I was doing that in New York. Yeah. So moved out here, and the first person I met when I moved out here was Sandra Bernstein.
How did that?
She was the hospitality manager or exec, whatever her title was. I can't even remember now, out at Vianza Winery. So I just applied for a job. And she saw it because she was from the East Coast and I'm from the East Coast. So Sandra was like, I got to see this person. She was like, he's overqualified for what we're looking for, but he's from the East Coast. So I'm going to bring him up and meet him anyway. And we literally sat and talked for over an hour or so and became fast and fabulous friends. And she actually said to me, you should go work up at Auberge du Soleil. And I was like, what's that? And she goes, oh, you have to go up there. And so I went up to Auberge du Soleil the next day, filled out an application. I got home and got a call from the director of operations from the restaurant who was like, I'm from the East Coast. I love East Coast people. We know how to work. We got a good work ethic. So called me in the next day and I got the job. And I was the general manager up at the restaurant Auberge du Soleil for 5 years. And then Sandra was opening up. She was moving then the Girl on the Fake to Sonoma and said, would you think of come work for me? Would you want to do that and help me open up the restaurant? So along with her and John and helped open up the Fig in Sonoma.
Yeah.
And
Which is
28 years old now. The restaurant's been around. On the plaza about 25 years, I think, something like that. And it's funny when I look back on those days, because when we first opened up the restaurant, it was things were quiet. I mean, so quiet to the point where, especially during the daytime, I couldn't even hire a bartender because nobody would sit at the bar. So I just said to Sandra, I said, look, I'll manage the restaurant and work the bar because it's just really pouring wine for people, basically, or just, that was about it. And then little by little, more people come to sit at the bar for lunch. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, we're getting really busy now. And which, of course, it's never stopped since then. And had to hire bartenders and move on.
There was I remember this vividly. There was an article in Sunset Magazine around that time that was go to Sonoma or go to Napa. Do you remember this? And swear to God, the conclusion was Sonoma. And of course. But like the next weekend, Sonoma was crowded, and it has not stopped being crowded since.
No, it has not. And, at that time, I was on the board of the Visitors Bureau board. And, that was the time when we were doing the Olive Festival, because we had a distinct off season. Right. And the off season literally was November 1st. Because I tell you, we would go with the Girl on the Fig. We would go from, like 500 covers or whatever. And then literally November 1st, 150 covers. I mean, literally was stopped just like that. And it didn't really pick up again until like almost April, May. That has completely changed now. There practically is the off season is like January, February.
Yeah.
So when everyone does construction on their rrestaurant, they close for like 1 week in January,
exactly.
like fix the floors or the bathroom, and then it's right back to it.
Right, exactly. I'm right back at it. But, so that has really changed over the years. So, we used to do the Olive Festival when it was here in town, which was an amazing thing. But it was because we had an off-season time, and the goal was how can we bring more people here during that time of year? Now we don't need to do that as much. Well, we appreciate that little month rest that we get.
Thankfully. So when did you leave, and why did you leave the Girl on the Fig? Would you just had enough?
Right. Everything to me, you have to have passion in your life. And I think after, 25-ish plus years in the restaurant industry, I was starting to lose that passion. But at the same time, what was happening the passion for my community, my gay community, was growing because I was seeing an influx more of, especially in the restaurant, I was seeing an influx of LGBT tourism. I was seeing an influx of my community moving here, whether it be to retire or a second home. I was seeing that happening. And sort of the bar at the Girl on the Fig became sort of our de facto gay bar, because I was fortunately working in a profession where I could be my authentic self. I didn't have to hide that I was a gay man. And so it became sort of the de facto gay bar in Sonoma. And that sort of was the impetus for Out in the Vineyard, because I was like, nobody's marketing to us. And I didn't understand why. And here we are, we're 45 minutes, north of Mecca. Pretty much every gay person all around the world at some time wants to visit the Castro. And people who come to San Francisco and that area, always pretty much a large percentage, over 75% of people come up to wine country when they're visiting, San Francisco. So I didn't understand, why wasn't the wine industry marketing to us, Sam? And, going back, this is 18 years ago now. And that was the impetus for Out in the Vineyard. And it started with just one event, one dance, and, literally like 250 people showed up that first year. And I was, okay, there's something here. And then little by little, I really learned that it wasn't homophobia, because I didn't feel homophobia even back then. What I realized was that the industry wasn't marketing to us because they weren't really that engaged in marketing back then, going 20 years ago or so.
I mean, there's still struggles in the wine business to actually market.
Right, because it costs a lot of money.
Sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. But I learned that it wasn't homophobia. It was that these people are farmers. It's agriculture. They're farmers. They're not thinking about that as much.
I can attest to that. Yeah.
And then really what happened was, and I'm really proud of this, is that when Out in the Vineyard started, I can't tell you how many calls I got from wineries. I could have started with a whole other business, but a lot of wineries asked me to come and speak to to the winery or to meet with their marketing departments, because they really were interested in, like, wow, look what you're doing. How can we get this? How can we get this market? This is a good market to try and, to get.
I know. What was your vision when you first started? To just do like one big event?
Yeah, it really was that. And then, we did the Twilight Tea Dance was that first event. And what by the
Chateau Saint Jean?
No, actually the first one was in Beringer in Napa.
Berger, yeah.
Beringer in Napa, because I had that's another story how that happened there. But then actually Julie Atwood, who we all know and love here in Sonoma County, she called me up and said, "I hear what you're doing. I'd love to meet with you. I would love to host the dance at my estate at the farm." And her reason was, she goes, "I used to live in San Francisco. I was so in tune with the gay community there. And I'd love to bring that back again and do it here in wine country." So for 3 years, we did the Twilight Tea Dance, or 2 years did the Twilight Tea Dance there. But what was happy each year, friends would call up, and when everyone was like, "Well, we're coming up for the weekend. Where should we stay? Where should we dine? What winery should we go wine tasting at?" And that's when the light bulb went on. A weekend. What about a whole weekend? What about a gay wine weekend? And sort of tailored it off of Aspen Gay Ski Week, which this year is celebrating 50 years of Aspen Gay Ski Week, which is an amazing event. So I call myself the little mini Aspen Gay Ski Week. When I grow up, I want to be them. But they're still hope. They're still hope. But they do an amazing job. And, that was really the impetus then, really, to start the 3-day weekend. And then here we are. This is the 15th year of Gay Wine Weekend, which is crazy.
So what are some of your favorite events that you've done over the years?
Oh my God, over the years. Well, I'll tell you, my new favorite event has been Pink Sonoma. My Pink
Sonoma is great. That was the first event of...
Yes, Pink, it's just a really fun, colorful, vibrant event. And it's like in May, right? It was just last weekend. And it's the perfect time of year for everyone to sort of start finding their summer sipping rosé wines. And it has just really grown. And this year I had the opportunity actually to move it up to Healdsburg this year. I know Brian's looking at me like, what? But Gay Wine Weekend's moving back down here. So, it's like, that works.
Yeah.
So, but Pink Sonoma is a lot of fun. And I have to admit, what was a really fun event that every once in a while I stop myself, but I go like, Gary, maybe we should bring that back, was the Big Gay Wine Train on the Napa Valley Wine Train. And did that for 4 years, I believe it was. Talk about being exhausted, because, we took over the whole train, and literally I spent the whole night, I'll never forget, the whole night literally walking from train to train, back and forth, from car to car, back and forth. I mean, talk about putting in steps, everything like that. I would get off that train at the end, and then we didn't have to party after that, but would be exhausted. but it was so much fun, and it is beautiful, sitting on that train and going up the valley, and it's absolutely stunning, and we had all gay winemakers every year that we brought on the train, and we called that the Big Gay Train. But then, of course, the Twilight Tea Dance at Gay Wine Weekend is to me everything.
And the history of the tea dance, if people don't know.
Oh yeah.
Was sort of based.
Well, actually, I will tell you, when we started the first year in Beringer, it took place at Beringer Winery, and I said, "Let's do a tea dance," and they were like, "That is fantastic. We'll do a dance." What's a tea dance in? I was like, "Let's And let's tank dance. Yeah, let's go back to Gay 101. And, tea dances started in, I want to say, the 60s or maybe early 70s, out actually on Fire Island. And it is a late afternoon gathering when the gay men and women, mostly gay men, would gather. And it was not, based on the English tea of having tea and crumpets late in the afternoon, except this one is involving alcohol.
It morphed.
More, a little bit more festive. And so the tea dances, without it's not TEA, it's tea-dance, became really popular in the 70s and the 80s in New York and Fire Island. I was there. Went to tea dances all the time. Privately, I'll tell you about my first tea dance experience. But it's not meant for the radio. But
we don't have any sponsors.
Oh, good.
Nobody's getting trouble.
Well, but it really is about it's about bringing our community together,
And music.
With music and dancing, because dancing is where we find our joy.
Yeah. So what has Out in the Vineyard morphed into at this point? It's an annual event that is basically an entire weekend.
Right.
That starts off with what?
Well, it starts off with a VIP reception at the host hotel, which is the Lodge at Sonoma, just up the block here. And then there are a number of winemaker dinners that happen around town. After that, there's going to be an after party at BV Whiskey Bar. And then on Saturday morning, there are wine tours that go out all over the valley. Saturday night is the signature event, the Twilight Tea Dance, which this year is taking place at Cornerstone Sonoma.
Oh,
so the new garden center, absolutely beautiful. It's back in our community now, and the new.
I love that the Pride event also, that they're sort of like the reclaiming of the formerly owned by the
Right.
shall not be mentioned.
Right, it's so apropos. Well, what's really apropos to me also is I realized it just actually a few weeks ago, is that the last gay event that happened at the General's Daughter was the first Pink Sonoma back in 2019. You poured there. And that was when it came out, literally 3 weeks before the event is when it came out about the Matsons and who they were and homophobic and everything. We learned a lot more later on, of course, about them. But, I did do the tip. That was literally just a tip, but it was, I just really decided at that point that I was going to throw a big gay party at their house.
your exact quote is, "We're gonna gay it up."
Yeah, and we did.
The general's daughter is back and she's gay.
Yeah, that's right. And then so that was amazing that was sort of the last event, right? The big gay event that happened at the General's Daughter. And then it's so funny that sort of the Matsons also own Cornerstone. And so that just dilapidated over the years. And that now one of the first big events that's happening there is going to be Gay Wine Weekends, Twilight Tea Dance. So that's pretty amazing. And I love that that's happening.
I love the symbolism of all.
Yes. Karma.
Escape it.
And then that night, and I'll just actually, Lisa knows this, but also then the after party after the Twilight Tea Dance, I just got the okay, is going to be held at Dead Letter afterwards at 10:30 p.m.
Wait a minute, you're getting this thirst back at the new space?
Well, if you want to know the truth, one of the winemaker dinners on July 17th is happening at Dead Letter. I told John and Sandra, I was like, I don't care when you open up, except it must be opened up by July 17th.
And they took that to the city and said, "Look, Gary said we had to be open like
See, exactly. And so we have to get a permit by the July 16th. That's all that matters." And then Sunday, drag queen brunch and wine auction at the Lodge at Sonoma in the Grand Ballroom, led by the hostess, Miss Ruby Red Monroe from San Francisco. And that event is so important because probably one of the most things that I'm most proud of is the fact that Gay Wine Weekend over the course of 14 years has helped raise $700,000 for Face to Face, which is the Sonoma County HIV/AIDS network. Yeah.
I saw you with the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus event at Sonoma State University. And
I was there.
we're going to make, our family is going to make that an annual event because I had so much fun.
It's great.
I don't know why I had never seen the Gay Men's Chorus before. My sister has friends that are in it, and she finally said, hey, this year, let's go do it. And I was expecting a choir. So I was expecting like, hey, no, la, la, la. And then the show absolutely blew me away. So yeah, that is now going to become a family tradition.
Exactly. Hit YouTube after this.
Oh my God.
Right? Yeah, it was the fucking choir. It's cool, but it's
No, you have no idea.
not different than the Mormon Tabernacle is what you're saying.
Just a little. And actually, you know, they are coming back on June 6th this summer, in the evening time at the Green Music Center and doing all Dolly music. I mean, how more gay can you get? Well, except that maybe if you're doing Barbara Judy Liza and Ben. But
this is not like as soon as they were done that night, they were like, tomorrow we're going and we're going to start working on next year's show. Like there's a lot of work that gets put into it. The choreography, the skits,
it's so much fun, so full of joy, and they come up and they do that every year for over 30 years. They've been coming up to Sonoma County to perform, and proceeds from that concert benefit Face to Face as well.
Which do you want to go into Face to Face? A little bit, just raises money for
Face to Face. Well, it's grown. It was, you know, Sonoma County's HIV/AIDS network that started back in 1983 at the very beginning of the AIDS crisis, because in Guerneville became in the 80s into the 90s. Where it was once like a mecca and party mecca for the gay community to go to. When AIDS happened, it became a place where young gay men from San Francisco would go to die. And there was a group of women who saw a need to help these young gay men die with dignity. And that was the beginning of Face to Face. Yeah. And here Face to Face is 43 years later, doing the work still. It has evolved, into doing a lot of work with harm reduction now, because harm reduction is something that also keeps needles off the street, keep people safe, keep people healthy from HIV, STDs, and other diseases. But everything is still about, the line is drawn and goes back to HIV and AIDS. And so it's been a really a very important part of our gay community's history here in Sonoma County, especially, as I said, the beginnings in Guerneville, Russian River area.
Yeah. You raised a lot of money that night there was an auction. So at a point in the show, they say, okay, we're going to auction off and someone can come up and lead the chorus. And so a live auction starts. And it turned into a pretty furious bidding war. I know Manuel was in on it at the beginning, and then I think it got a little too rich for his blood.
Yeah, but no, that raised about, I want to say the show was about $11,000 just from that alone. And then the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus also donates a portion of the proceeds of the ticket sales to Face to Face every year. And that has been, it's amazing. It's amazing to receive that kind of support from another nonprofit that the Gay Men's Chorus.
And such a great space that Green Center. When I went in, I think originally it was people who were booking it at first was like someone who was booking the Met back in the day. And so it was a lot of like sort of upper crust entertainment. And I think they quickly realized that if they wanted to get more people in, they needed to branch out a little bit. And so then really cool shows started going. But the acoustics and the wood and that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Sonoma State?
So, yeah. Yes, that's the Russell place they're offered. That's a show.
That's like I live in Rohnert Park.
Yeah,
so
you're like around the corner from.
Yeah, that's our spot.
Oh, yeah.
We can have free walk to and from shows.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah. No, it's an amazing place to see concerts out there, especially when they open up in the summer season, open up and back, and you can picnic out there. It's beautiful. I saw Diana Ross there and Josh Groban. Pink Martini up there. Pink Martini. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So you guys last night, you officially, do you want to talk about the announcement last night of Pride Month?
Yeah, we Gary and I, and also our third member of our dream team, Matt Long, we went to the city council meeting and they did a proclamation of June being officially recognized as Pride Month.
Was that not, is it not always Pride Month? Do you actually, every year you have to like petition or something?
Oh, no.
No, I mean, I think we've been doing, it seems like everybody does June as Pride Month. One year we did actually the end of May, 2 years ago, but, and then I think Petaluma does October. So it's not necessarily officially, but we did talk to the mayor at the time, Patricia Ferrar-Rivas, and said, hey, this would be really nice if we were recognized actually in the city as, officially proclaimed June Pride Month.
Right.
And she brought it to the city council and they wrote it up. And then, I guess we thought that was going to always be the case, but then this year they did it again. So I guess we'll do it every year, but just make it official every year.
Okay.
Oh, we like that.
And then Lisa, you want to kind of introduce yourself and how you came to be in Sonoma and maybe the beginnings of Wake Up Sonoma. Yeah.
My story is very different than Gary's, but even though I am also originally from Patchogue, New York, I came here as a 6-year-old, so I don't remember a lot about New York. But I grew up in Southern California. I went to college in San Luis Obispo and got my degree in journalism, believe it or not. And then came up here to Sonoma to work at Sonoma Developmental Center, where I got my social work degree. So I was in Sonoma Developmental Center for 30 years. I worked there for 30 years. That was my home away from home. I have a lot of my heart went into that place. The most incredible people that lived there and worked there for many, many years. And I wasn't out as a lesbian until I was 40 years old. So
5 years ago.
Yeah. Thank you, Carrie. 29 again. But I got married a couple times. I had 3 kids. And when I was in my 40s, I was working as a social worker, and I met someone who helped me realize that, oh, hey, this thing that I'm doing with marrying men isn't really working out for me. So I came out. It was a really hard time, different than Gary's experience. I did experience a tremendous amount of homophobia in that process.
In this area?
Yes. That the church that my ex-husband went to, the social worker there, this is an unethical thing. She launched a campaign to take my kids away from me because I was a lesbian. There was a lot of like separation of families. It was a pretty horrible time. But got through that period of time, and then I met my now wife, Joan Borg, who, she grew up here in the Valley. And she experienced a tremendous amount of homophobia growing up at Sonoma Valley High School. So it was really hard, for her to feel comfortable being out. But I think about 20 years ago is when we met. We met about 23 years ago, to be precise. And then we just started experiencing just sort of this lifting of that feeling in our community where it felt more open, more welcoming. It was, really different for her and for me to feel comfortable being out in this community. But, so then when the whole thing happened with the Matsons, we were just starting to get comfortable feeling like, oh, we're a lesbian couple. We can actually hold hands in Sonoma. And then this whole thing happened with the Matsons.
Yeah.
And I started to feel that panic of, this homophobic investment group is going to start containing our rights again, and it's going to be awful. So I guess that's what happened to me, as I just came out, roaring, as that is not going to happen. And so actually then there was a group of people that were already sort of had their eyes on what was going on with the Matson group. And I got involved with that original founding group. And, we just started, I don't know if you know David Eicher, who is the one who has done all tremendously deep research on every single property that was ever bought by the Matsons. And then we combined, in Sonoma County. And then we started working with Phil Barber, and it was sort of like, I often think what it would be like to do a movie about this whole thing. All of the little communications and secrecy that we had people helping us all over the community secretively because nobody wanted to get, outed as helping us. And there was a lot of harassment that was kind of going on behind the scenes towards us because we were being so unfair to the Matsons. So, it feels like it was a long road, but in retrospect, it was really a pretty short period of time. Yeah. And really, yeah. And our role was just shine the light on what they're doing.
And people that don't live in this area that are listening to the show that don't know who the Matsons are, who wants to take it? Sandy, because in my recollection, this all started with Sarah Stirch finding a post on Facebook.
That's one video, Mrs. Matson on posting a bunch of anti-gay shit.
Yeah.
And maybe
Rose at a parade or something. Yeah.
Inaugurate.
Well, there was also the homophobic post. I think that she's the one who
spoke about the gay agenda. She's against marriage, about being against marriage equality when the Supreme Court, But
even before that shit dropped, what they were doing in Sonoma was at least noteworthy as far as buying up swaths of properties, residential, retail, hospitality, Cornerstone, General's Daughter, Ramekins,
Depot,
Ravenswood, Sonoma's Best, Sojourn,
Hotel,
the Depot Hotel, right?
And it was like, who the fuck are these people?
Who are they?
Coming into our
well before any of this sort of came out, when I was working on the swimming pool project, and we were looking for housing developers to partner with at the pool, which is now going to is housing that's actually starting to open on Verano, and then there's going to be a little hotel there. They were one of the groups of investors that we met with, and even then it was like they showed up in there's like the father and the son in matching Bentleys with contrasting collar shirts and French cuffs, and you're like, I mean, it's
there's something fishy about these guys.
Man, like it was a one meeting. There was no follow up meeting with that one. So there was definitely people were taking notice, and they bought up a bunch of really prominent properties that mattered a lot in the community. Sona's Best, was General's Daughter, and then. I guess Sarah Stirch sort of lit that fire with, some screenshots of Facebook posts. And then that's probably when we guys started digging in.
Well, the spark was at the town hall, air quoting, meeting that he attempted to have around the church mouse. And he had said...
Over in the Springs.
Yeah, and he had said, we want to hear from the community. So, but what actually happened was a really highly controlled and orchestrated meeting where he and his attorney just presented their plans, and any input from the community was tightly controlled. And people leaving that meeting just looked at each other and said, this is not right. And that's when Wake Up Sonoma was born.
Yeah. Yeah. And they actually, right after that Pink Sonoma event at the General's Daughter, they asked to meet with me. And so I had a private meeting with them. Actually, I'll never forget.
That's the same week or two that Kyle flew
all that was happening. Actually, it was Kyle and I met with them. They asked that Kyle was in that meeting too. And I'll never forget. And Ken walked in, and he was wearing a beautiful outfit. Actually, I know that you talk about. And I actually said to him, I said, "Love your pants." because they were real. They were beautiful. They were I can't remember which part, but
expensive and
yeah, oh, probably very expensive. But started that meeting again, really orchestrated by them to inform us of their Christian values and how important they are to them. And of course, they would never, ever not hire gay people. They wouldn't do that. And I was like, of course not. It's against the law.
right, yeah.
And of course we'll do gay events. And I was like, of course you'll take our money.
Yeah.
But then you're going to take our money to fight our rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I will never forget when Stacy, the wife Matson, said, if her son were gay and he chose to get married, she would not attend his wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other side of that was we did some deep research on Lefevre, who is the silent partner of Kim Matson, and found out he had very correct connections to the Heritage Foundation, the Council for National Policy.
Actively with
Yes.
groups.
Yeah. And he, California Pacific Institute in Davis, which is an anti-LGBTQ organization specifically. And he was the founder of that organization. So we started going, wait a minute, what are they really doing here? What is really going on? And that's when we started pivoting our mission from exclusively the Matson issue, because, and to this day, we still continue to work on that mission. But we also see that Sonoma needed to sort of wake up to the vulnerability that we have here to the extremist right-wing organizations that want to come into these tiny little towns like Sonoma and just buy everything up and start influencing things through money and infiltrate and flip. And that's what they were doing all across the nation. So we just really felt like we had to ring that bell and say, wake up, we're not going to let this happen here. We need to actually become more active as a social justice-oriented community. And so that's what our mission is.
Well, it's interesting because part of Project 2025 is, and this came from Steve Bannon, fabulous Steve Bannon, is that the first thing right. No, definitely not. No, not even the hair. Nothing there. But really, the first thing is you infiltrate the school boards, which has happened here in Sonoma.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, perfect segue.
No, but it has happened here in Sonoma Valley.
And as a matter of fact, we are showing a movie about that called Mom's Club on June 25th. So it's a fabulous group of women who started to see the school boards infiltrated that were anti-LGBTQ in Southern California. And they did deep research over a period of 5 years. And what resulted was this movie that documents their journey and what they discovered that's actually happening up at the Council for National Policy Heritage Foundation, their plan to infiltrate school boards all across the nation. And so this movie is important. And one thing I really have to say is the president of that school board, Sonia Shaw, is running for statewide superintendent of education in the November elections. We need to be watching that.
And where is this movie going to be shown?
At Saperstein Theater.
And say the date again.
June 25th.
Okay. And people can get tickets just going to Saperstein Theater.
No, you have to go to our website. Well, you can also go to Saperstein website too. Yeah. Yes.
And I think it's important to note that even as cool as Sonoma County has been for a long time, even going, before sort of the 60s spills out of San Francisco north, there has also always been an undercurrent in Sonoma County of an element that we wouldn't want to associate with at this table, and that is, a little more hateful and bigoted and biased, and I think that's what, when the Matsons start doing their thing and sort of in the tone of national politics starts to empower those people who live within our community. I think it's, to reiterate sort of like why you guys are here today, is that it's important to promote and make sure that these events are super successful, to show that, the strength of this community is against that type.
Well, and then let's come full circle and remind what the Mathesons turned out to be, which are allegedly crooks.
No, not alleged.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, granted, a trial has not happened, but it is pretty much.
Yeah, he actually is pleading guilty to
He's the
one piece of fraud. But really, we're talking Ponzi scheme, money laundering,
Stole money from little old ladies.
at his trial. He met people at his church and befriended them, and then took their money
right.
and their life savings.
But I think that the presence of this element, as you pointed out, Sam, is that emboldens things like the school board president taking down the pride flag from the high school unilaterally without checking with anyone. And so those are the things that this community, we're so lucky, sits up straight and says, oh, no, that's not happening.
Turn on the lights, let the cockroaches hurry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because, the thing is, we have to remember that hate lives everywhere.
Right.
I mean, it's in every town, every community. And that's just a fact. And yeah, that's why we do need organizations such as Wake Up Sonoma and the work that they do to keep people aware of what's happening in our community. That is why we have to celebrate Pride Month. Why, more things that we can do that are diverse all across across every realm, not just LGBTQ, but that the more diversity we have, the more successful the communities are. And so, yes, our focus is on the LGBTQ community. That the more diversity that we can have in our community, and that we put that out there, the more that hopefully things like this won't happen in our community. But we see it, as I was saying last night at the city council meeting, is I've seen just in this week alone when the paper did, an article on Sonoma Valley Pride and what's happening over the course of the weekend, when they did an article on the Pink Sonoma event, the hateful rhetoric
And
online, the comment section, which you think that they would monitor things like that, because some things are like, really, like that you literally want to kill us, but it's there. It's there. And, but that can't, the only thing is it lights the fire. It doesn't stop. It can't stop us from doing the things that we need to do. And that's really our whole vision for Sonoma Valley Pride this year, is really about queer joy, spreading joy. That's what we want to do. We want people who come to all the events over the course of the weekend, we want them to leave feeling joyful, empowered, finding their resilience and know that there's a community here for them, straight and gay, that accepts who they are.
Then that's we need so much more joy right now.
Yes, period.
It doesn't fucking matter how you're creating the joy. Bring the joy, and that's the best weapon that we have.
Yeah,
against all of this.
right.
It's just, we can be joyful. I'm going to bring a wavy gravy story into this just because that's what I do. They would do this thing when the hog farm was traversing across Europe and Asia to bring humanitarian aid to Bangladesh, which they never made it. They ended up in Nepal. They had this caravan of buses. And they would, getting flat tires and shit like this. So they started to do every third flat tire, they would pull over on the side of the road, wherever they were, and have a party. And just party and be joyful and sort of trick the karmic gods into no more flat tires. And then eventually they stopped getting flat tires. But it's that same sort of concept of there's all these hardships. There's gas is $7 a fucking gallon. There's all these things so we can't let that stop us from, having a party.
Exactly.
And celebrating the fact that we're all here. And, we can say we're kind of...
And that is something that the gay community has always done. And I realized it last year when we were working on Pride together. And it hit me all of a sudden. I started thinking about my days back in New York during the AIDS crisis. And we were screaming and crying and marching and, volunteering, back in those days in New York. But then I realized something that I hadn't thought about in so many years, that even though I was doing that, we were all doing that during the daytime, we still went out dancing. Those are my days. I was in my, 20s, early 30s. I was going out to all the clubs and the bars every night of the week. Literally walking out the door. It's like, oh my God, it's still daylight. Oh, New York. But it hit me that, yes, we said, and I said, did I do that during that whole time when all this awful stuff was going on? And it hit me. It was like, yes, we did that, because that's where we found our joy. We found our resilience, so that, yes, we did, so that we could march during the daytime, that we could cry.
Well, it's the connection that you get with your fellow humans. And yeah. And if we lose our connection with each other, that's when they win. And Sonoma Valley Pride this year is about that connection. And can we talk about?
Yeah, let's do the talk about the event.
Yeah, and
all the things.
Burn a little sage.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get our Nazis out of our
Or just take a sip of this one of them, one of the 16600 rosé.
Burn any more rosé for the same,
But that helps too.
Well, so
yes.
Friday night on June 12th.
Yeah, say the dates, okay.
June 12th, Friday night, we're going to do something that is sort of, I guess, we're being brave and bold this year, where we're bringing an artist from Oregon. Their name is Jay Graves, J. Graves. And Jay is I don't know, I guess an alternative type of a musician. And it's like a indie punk rock kind of thing. It's like, really very...
George's a Jay Graves fan.
Okay, we don't have to put them in a box, but I want to know kind of a general feel of what I'm in for.
Well, we'll put them on a box in a minute and listen to some fucking music.
It's
I like it.
They are and in order to spice it up even more and edge it up even more, we have two drag queens that are pretty well known in this region and beyond. Cochina Rude, who actually was born in Sonoma Valley, and
great fucking
Cochina Rude, and is also known as the Narcan Queen, because she educates people about how to use Narcan to save lives using her drag performances. It's pretty incredible.
Really big in harm reduction.
Yeah.
And is really wonderful. We've done a lot of work with her with face over the years.
Bold and beautiful. She's going to be the MC of the event also. And then Tilapia.
The fish.
Tilapia, but it's like tilapia.
For those at home, it is TILA space PIA.
And she told us, because I didn't know it when I first said, she said, no, you say tilapia. I'm like, the fish. I'm like, you got it.
And she's a performance artist in that she also uses acrobatics. So she's bold in her own way. And so the two of them are going to be performing along with Jay Graves, as well as, separately. So it'll be something to behold. We're going to have so much fun.
And this is at
Saperstein Theater.
That's like a dope show.
Yeah.
It's going to be something really different. So music, drag. So that's Friday, June 12th. So many dates.
Which is right around the corner.
Dates.
Yeah.
It is right around the corner. June Pride Month is about to start.
And then Saturday, Gary, why don't you talk about Saturday?
Saturday night, as Lisa mentioned a little bit earlier, we are getting the new owners of the General's Daughter are opening up the doors to us, to the gay community. And so we're going to have a pride dance there, from 7 to 10 p.m. at the General's Daughter. So we are really thrilled about that. Open up the doors. We have a local DJ, DJ Mary Louise.
Oh, yeah. It's right, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Paso,
yes.
You know of her.
I graduated high school with Mary Louise.
That's how Mary Louise grew up here and actually traveled around the world DJing with another female DJ.
You also from Sonoma. Vanessa, they
they were really from Sonoma. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, there you go. So it's Sonoma history. And so, so DJ Mary Louise is going to be spinning for the night. And
I do believe
we are really...
Sam is pouring or what is
Right. We
wine.
One of us is is that on my calendar? I have no idea. I haven't looked that far ahead. Let's be real.
Right. And so we're really looking forward to that. Costa's tacos truck is going to be out there. People can purchase food throughout the night. We're going to have Tulare Vodka, a new vodka company, lesbian-owned company out of local Napa, even though she used to live in Sonoma. It will be also pouring some
and Pangloss
drinks.
I think.
And what?
Pangloss.
And Panglasses.
Was there another?
Soci.
Trying to remember what I saw in it.
So it's going to be really a really fun night at the General's Daughter
We're
opening.
going to have a disco ball. Think ad.
Horse. The General's Daughter's back.
And then Sunday is the family friendly event that we hope all of Sonoma will come out in order to just be part of the big gay joy. But it isn't just gay joy; it's just community joy. And we're going to have about 16 confirmed booths, but we're still confirming 11 others. So we have the whole southeast end of the plaza. We're going to have a photo booth, drag story hour. The library is going to come and do story hour also for the kids. We'll have face painting, art pop-ups. We're going to have Betty's Hot Dogs, Costa's Tacos, and a couple of other booths for food. And artists, we have local artists, and even artists actually from all around the county have applied to have a booth. And then we're going to have a stage lineup, which is going to go from 2 to 5. And on that lineup, we have Jay Graves will be back to do a stripped down version. I don't know what that means, but it's
set or acoustic set. I don't think they're going to trap.
No.
Well, I mean, one of
Cochina Rude will be the MC of that event as well. My own dear son, Lisa Storment, who has just launched his music journey, is going to be playing with his band. We have,
I caught little glimpses of that on Instagram. So next time.
Yes, yeah. We'll have Sue Albano, who is very popular in our community. She and her band is going to be playing, and then we'll have Transcendence is going to come and do a set. And then we'll have speaker lineup is Sandra Lowe, who's standing in for the mayor this year. Honey Mahogany, who is the director of the transgender advocacy organization in San Francisco. She's an amazing person, really powerful speaker. Eli Beckman, who is a queer candidate running for state assembly. And we invited him. He didn't promote himself to us. We just said, a queer politician, let's invite him. Let's see, who am I forgetting?
Mariah Hansen. Local Sonoma, who is the founder of the Dinah, which is the largest lesbian event in the country, in the world, maybe. I'll say the country. I don't know if the world, but that's been going on in Palm Springs for many, many years.
She's an incredible speaker if you've ever seen any of her stuff online. And then we have the president of the GSA at the high school, Madeline Edwards, who's going to be talking. And I think that's our lineup of speakers.
You got everybody there.
We wanted to just be mostly music. People bring their picnic or buy food there, hang out on the grass, browse the booths, and just come together and be together and have fun.
Wine for sale. We'll have mocktails for non-alcoholic beverages, Equator coffee. I think can be there some coffee or something. I think
it was a great chill day in the plaza last year.
Yeah. It's going to be so much bigger this year.
Oh, good.
And then we'll have a lot of Mentoring Alliance will be there. A lot of the nonprofits are going to set up their booths. It feels like a day when it should be non-controversial support for the gay community or the queer community. Just come out and browse and, see what's going on in Sonoma. And for people coming from out of town, we'll have, a lot for you to do that day.
And then also make tasting appointments.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want a pregame here at 16600, I'll be here at 8.
We like pregame, we like postgame, we like it all. That's fantastic. Well, I have to say, and I'll just give you guys a plug because thank you for being an amazing ally over the years. I mean, you've worked with me for so many years now, with Out in the Vineyard and attending and pouring at events, and the support that you've shown Pride over the course of, from the very beginning when we first started doing Pride, here. So we thank you for that, because that is so important. Yes, we have a gay community here, and it's great that we get together and we do all that, but we need our allies, especially during the challenging times that we're living in now. So thank you for your support, both professionally and personally.
It was never a question.
And we know that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, these next 2.5 years, we got to figure out some way to just make it through.
Yeah. And, I don't know if I could put in a pitch for sponsorships for Sonoma Valley Pride as
Plug away.
So, everything takes money, and we know money is very tight for everyone right now. But Sonoma Valley Pride is pulling out all the stops this year to really do this. And it will be an experiment to see how well, and receptive the community is to a whole weekend of Pride events. And, we're just doing that thing where you go forward and you have your best intention, the community will show up and fill in behind you. So if you want to give donations or sponsorships, go to SonomaValleyPride.com. We have a list of options for you. It's very convenient shopping. different tiers of sponsorships. And then I would also say, if you go to to support Wake Up Sonoma's work, again, an organization like ours doesn't get grants because we are, we're sort of out of the box of the mainstream of things that people usually give grants for. We run completely 100% on donations. At this point, we have a almost 100% volunteer crew, and we really value any donations, big or small, to Wake Up Sonoma to keep us going through these years. We're going to need Wake Up Sonoma around.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait for the summer to get going.
Yeah.
It's not great. Summer's here, man.
No, summer is here. It's official. I mean, granted, Memorial Day we can say official, but it's here. It's happening, and we're ready for it.
Cool.
Sunday sounds so fun. I know I'll be there with my kids.
Oh, good. Would you bring kids?
Yeah.
We're hoping we're going to have also, we're looking for an interpreter so that we can be inclusive of the deaf community. We thought we had one, but now we don't. So we're looking again. And we're also reaching out to Common Ground that does tents for neurodiverse children or people, just to sort of be able to go into this tent and chill a little bit.
Yeah.
So we've reached out to them. So we're hoping to make this a very inclusive activity for family.
And then, Gary, you didn't actually plug the dates and how to get tickets for Out in the Vineyard stuff.
Oh, easy. So the dates this year are July 17th through 19th. It's after Pride. Everyone gets a chance to relax a little bit.
Take a couple of weeks off.
Take a couple of weeks off, and then we'll dance again. So that's July 17th through the 19th. And easy, you can go on the website, which is outinthevineyard.com, or make it even easier, you can do gaywineweekend.com.
Have you figured out how many people come from out of town as opposed to locals?
Yeah, it's about 60% out of town. Yeah, which is great, because I love being able to do that. But the term heads in beds means a lot in the tourism industry. So there is a difference, and for all these years, that we people book hotel rooms, they book Airbnbs as well. People are going out to dinner, they're shopping in town, they're going wine tasting. Even if they don't do it, there are a lot of people on Saturday who don't even do the wine tours maybe that I do for them, but decide just to go out on their own. But people are buying wine, they're becoming wine club members, and That's what I love. For me, I love that synergy, being able to work that way. I mean, you all know there's no guarantee when people are going to walk out the door with wine or not. We never know that. But
It's when you got Brian Casey, it's a guarantee.
except here, if they have Brian, you are leaving with something. But it's great. I love when I see people are shipping wine home, or they become wine club members, and they go online and show that their wine club shipment just arrived from when they were here for Gay Wine Weekend. That's what it's all about. It makes a difference in our community.
I know you did a vegan dinner one year. Are you thinking about doing a little reprisal?
Yeah, no, I've done a vegan dinner the last 2 years, and the last 3 years the event was up in Healdsburg, West River Valley region, so it was at Little Saint. This year it'll be at Spread. So we've spread. So it'll be a vegan and vegetarian dinner combination. Christina, the chef, there is going to do both, and paired with Mercury Wines, which is a gay-owned winery out of Geyserville. So we'll be the winemaker for that dinner. And yeah, it's great. I love being able to each year offer something a little bit different. And even last year, the first time I did an all-women's winemaker dinner. And so this year, that dinner is going to be up at Beltane Ranch. Beautiful setting. And it was fun because last year it was at Silver Oak, which was, gorgeous, and that was at a gorgeous setting and very, very, highfalutin, but in a good way. It was so fancy. This year, though, we're sort of stripping it down, like break out Chicago.
Yeah, there's going to be a little dust.
So it'll be really a fun dinner in the beautiful setting up at Beltane Ranch. And then, the girl on the fig is having dinner with 3 sticks. And yeah,
I don't know how, when do you sleep, Gary?
Very little, Lisa.
He hasn't slept since the 80s, Gary.
It's January.
Yeah, we're
About 1 week in January, he sleeps.
right. That one little weekend in January. Yeah. We find the balance.
You thank us, but thank you both for doing what you do. You are both incredible representatives of the town of Sonoma, and the energy that you bring here, and someone that's willing to speak out and
protect and make the not only speak out but do the digging work.
Yeah. Well, and it's what's most inspiring to me in this work is seeing the light go on for other people, that they can actually do something, empowering people to actually act instead of what we say here is anxiety, or action absorbs anxiety. And, don't sit at home being anxious about everything. Get out and help. Get out and go to a really amazing event where you're connecting with others. Sitting at home worrying is just not the place to be.
Mm-hmm. Community or connection is a very important thing. And I think we have that here in Sonoma. Sam, growing up here, especially your whole life, and Sonoma is so community oriented. And it's when our community comes together to do things it's powerful and it's meaningful. And it makes a difference in everyone's life.
And I think the lesson of all of this is that you can't take that shit for granted, though. We've got to keep working at it and doing these events and participating to keep that part of Sonoma alive, and not let people like those other people come in and try and take it away from us.
Exactly.
That's why, for the stuff that you guys do, make me proud to be from Sonoma.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything you guys want to promote that we have going on over there?
You guys never stop. Hello.
We haven't slept since the 80s either.
I know.
I was bored.
I mean, I think we're pretty close to being sold out for red, white, and rosé.
Yeah, you better get on that. If you want to come, Hattie Craven's. That is
Craven.
Hattie Craven's coming back June 28th. Red, white, and rose. Not that we ever, because Brian sells wine as soon as it's in a bottle before even the cork goes into it, have release parties, but technically it's our rosé release party. A little 4th of July pre-party. Hattie Craven. And Dusky yes, doing food.
Ooh, wow.
And the little pig.
That's going to be right here in our backyard.
Right in
Yeah, we love Dusky.
I think we are schmoozing Cancer Support Sonoma to
so that we can take over their part of
take over the parking lot.
We're gonna have to spread this one out a little bit. Now there's and even though we have sold many tickets and have many of our favorite club members coming, Bill Graham always said there's no such thing as a sellout. So keep going, buy tickets. We'll find a spot. We'll just keep taking over more.
Love that.
Yeah.
There's always room for one more.
Yes. Also, keep your eye out. July 11th, we're going to do a sorbet dinner at the Rossi Ranch. That ticket link will be dropping June 2nd. We had a meeting yesterday, and somebody took notes, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, we did that luncheon out there the other day, and I think some people were upset that they didn't know that was going on. It was only producers.
Only producers
bought wine
and no press. Pam Strayer.
So anything goes at the sorbet party.
Oh no. This was the Rossi Ranch lunch. The sorbet party we'll probably have press at because we get it.
So is it the whole day? It's all sorbet.
It'll be so sorbet is the Sonoma Organic Regenerative Biodynamic Educational Festival.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yes, okay. I was thinking, it's not back to forget.
We will have sorbet. We will have sorbet this time. We just officially became an actual 501c3 like a month ago. So this was our first, like a little bit of a fundraiser dinner. So we're gonna do.
Oh shit, it's serious.
Oh shit, it's serious. Now we gotta pay bills.
And now you're a 501c3. You have to have a board. Oh my god, all that
taking minutes.
Minutes, right?
So it's a fundraiser, and then ahead of November 8th sorbet back at Fort Mason in the city. So this is ticket link dropping very soon. Make sure that you're on the sorbet mailing list, following along on Instagram and stuff like that.
Cool. Hopefully we will see you at Red, White, and Rosé.
I was just looking at. This is the first I heard of it. I mean,
read your emails.
Check it out more.
Do you get our text messages too?
I do.
Well, it's a busy week. What else do you got going? Just put your
It's just a little busy.
There's no charge for wine club members.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you're a
I'll be there.
so you
Yeah.
We're just gonna put you on the list.
All right.
+1. Cool.
So I am officially moved into Passaggio Wines in Glen Ellen. So either myself or my husband will be pouring there. Usually probably on Fridays or Saturdays for Jam de Bois wines. And also Passaggio Wines in Glen Ellen, which is gay-owned, I believe. And wonderful women who run that tasting room. Passaggio Wines are great. So you can come in and just buy wine, a glass of wine off the list. I think besides Passaggio and myself, there's 3 or 4 other small-owned wineries in there, including Once and Future. And yes, they do live music on Fridays and Saturdays. If you're not drinking, you can always just pay $10. That goes to support the band and you get a bubbly water.
What date is that again?
It's every Friday, Saturday.
And you're going to be doing that every Friday, Saturday?
Well, I might not be there every Friday and Saturday, but they do live music but I will be there to help introduce more people to Jam de Bois wines out there. So if you want to come taste with the winemaker, and then you can always just email me or contact me via Instagram, Danielle at jamdeboiswines.com. Or Danielle Makes Wine.
Podcast.com.
Or go on the Winemakers podcast.
Goes for all of us. And there's actually a link right now.
Do I have a bio up there now?
No, you don't, because you have now done a bio. Everyone else has done their bio. But there's a link to get a bottle of your Gamay.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And so if you want to come up and try a glass of my wine.
I'm gay for her Gamay.
Or.
Not that.
Ham too.
I have, yeah.
Or meet me, just email me or get a hold of me on Instagram, and I would love to meet you out at the tasting room out in Glen Ellen. And then you can go across the street and taste Bart's wines, because he's like literally across the street.
Yeah,
so.
Right across the street.
Lisa was saying the only wine she can drink
it's winery 16600. I'm sorry, but it is the best wine, and it doesn't hurt me. And you're fed to the glory. But I also want to say that
There's no cover extra.
I want one, but I have to say that Jam I'm sorry, Jean de Bois wines. They donated to one of our events. And that was like a surprise to me because first of all, it didn't hurt me either. So I don't know why, but it was also delicious. Really, really good.
Thank you.
So
What happens when a wine hurts you?
no, you don't.
We'll talk about that offline.
Yes.
I want to know, did you get these rainbow-colored mic covers just for us, or no, have them on all the time?
No.
And that you told us to go down close to it. It's very easy for me to do. See, Sam, I had to tell a dick joke.
Grateful? Grateful it was you and not me?
No, the colors of the mics are representative of their true colors of, their integrity.
There you go. That's beautiful.
And also helps us know what mic is which.
And what really happened is our mic covers were so gross that I was so embarrassed like a few months ago because they had faded.
Well, they were always purple, weren't they?
We always had different colors, but they were so gross. So Jasmine got us some new covers that are a little brighter and more festive. So
This checks out.
yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see you out there for the family day for sure. My son's favorite color is rainbow, so he's going to be stoked.
Don't be playing rainbows.
Oh, wait, well, he can help with the rainbow flag.
Absolutely, yeah.
We will leave links in the notes on the show to both of you and then also on the winemakerspodcast.com website. If anyone missed out on any of the information and you need it, reach out to us personally. We appreciate you listening. Leave us reviews.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Buy the wine.
Buy the wine.
Buy some.
And go to the pride party.
And drink the wine.
Drink the wine.